Hi, my name is Shanna Price, and I'm here to tell you the story of my faith. In a way, if you listen to my life, it sounded like a song, kind of like a lullaby. It just played along in the background. But then all of a sudden, there would be these clashes, these cymbals, making it really loud and interesting suddenly. Or if it was like the weather, well, it'd be mostly blue skies, a couple of tornadoes, maybe a hurricane would come along. When I was young, I knew God. I knew everything about God. He was my friend. We spoke, and I heard him. And then I became a teenager, and everything changed. Not because I became a teenager, but because the people who were supposed to love me, who were supposed to be there for me, no matter what, they weren't. When I came out at 17, my mother told me I would rather you were dead than gay. I bounced along like this for a while. But you see, my mother's best friend looked at me one day, and we were sitting in her Firebird, which was a really cool car when you were 17.
Yeah.
And she said, "Shanna, God doesn't care if you're gay." But, and I began to think, maybe she was right. So there was no dramatic entrance back into my life. There was no dramatic, hey, God called me back because this and this and this and this. What happened is God continued to call me. Hey, Shanna. And if that was all of my story, hey, that'd be beautiful, right? But you see, adulthood literally nearly flattened. When I was 32 years old, I heard a doctor look at me and say, "Hey, you got cancer." And I had squamous cell carcinoma of the larynx. The cancer that I had, it's a smoking-related cancer, but it's also an HPV-related cancer. My choices caught up to me. The consequences of actions I made. I woke up roughly 5 a.m. on a given day in May in 2006. And as I moved, the pillow moved with me. And it took me a minute to realize why. You see, the radiation treatments had begun to burn my skin, and it would slough off. And as I would sleep, the fluids would coagulate, and it would scab. And I had to take a pillow and rip it away from my neck. Now, mind you, I said some very colorful words when that happened. But before I could do it, I had to stop and pray, "God, please help. I don't think I can." Yes, you can. Yes, you will. And we'll get through this. So after yanking the pillow off and going, taking a shower and taking my pain meds, I went on to work because I was very fortunate to have a boss that rearranged my schedule and made it flexible for me to be able to continue to work every day that I was going through radiation treatment. Fast forward as we went along, 2012 came along, my biological father passed away. 2020 came, and I thought I was going to break. In late 2020, late September 2020, my father-in-law passed. And that was very hard on me because my father-in-law had helped me get through losing my best friend when my father died. October, I fell, tore my ACL. November 2020, I had to have ACL reconstructive surgery. As I'm doing all of this, I'm also dealing with my mother going into a nursing home. My mother passed away in December of 2020 from COVID. So 2 losses, right? February, my uncle died. April of 2021, a car and killed in Jacksonville, Texas. I was an orphan, and I felt orphaned. In May of 2021, my youngest brother caught COVID, and we thought we were going to lose him. He was 34 years old. He had ended up hospitalized. He was in ICU. He was on a ventilator for 31 days. He was the only person in his ICU on that floor that had COVID, was ventilated, and lived. Everyone else on his floor passed away. Now, before I knew that was coming, before I knew that that could be the answer, all I knew was I was going to lose my baby brother, and I had lost everything else. I couldn't handle it. And I went to God and I said, no, you can't have him. You can't have him. You take him, you lose me. God said, don't threaten me. And I said, you know what? My bad. During all of this, I began to pray. And I really worked through a lot of things. But I decided that the outcome of my faith could not be based on the outcome of my brother. So I went to God and I said, look, he's yours. I have to trust you with him more than I trust me with him. He lived. But in that moment and in that time, it wasn't about that. God, if you take him, I'll still trust you. I won't like it. I won't be happy, but I will still trust you. And there was a freedom in that because I learned I can trust. I can trust. My life, like that song, my life, like the weather, has been a series of steps, taken one step at a time. It has been a long and hard journey. There were days, God, I can't do it. It's too hard. It's too far. It's too long. It hurts too much. Shanna, take one step. I encourage you to do anything in your life